A K2 investigation into the years-long delay when it comes to putting body cameras on Portland police officers.
We know that's what they're saying, but what really happened?
How an agreement was finally reached and why there's still some controversy.
Tonight, a K2 investigation into the years-long delay to put body cameras on police officers in Portland.
The final hurdle came down to a disagreement over whether officers can watch their video after use of force. Our investigation found Portland's approved policy puts it in the minority of major departments we compared it to. K2 investigator Wright Gazaway is here with the story now. The rules could change, right, again, before every officer actually wears a camera.
The rules certainly could change, and it will be a year, possibly longer, before every officer has a camera. For now, a small group of officers will wear cameras for a 2-month pilot project. There's still disagreement over when officers should be able to watch their videos and when the detectives investigating a police shooting should watch as well. This grainy cell phone video is all that shows the police shooting of Robert Delgado in April 2021. Tina Delgado remembers the day well. What have the last couple years been like?
Very emotional, sad, not fun.
Police officers responded to reports her brother was waving a gun in Lentz Park. An officer shot and killed him within 5 minutes of getting there. Do you still have a lot of questions about what happened?
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Officer Zachary DeLong told a grand jury he tried talking to Delgado when he got there, but moments later, quote, Mr. Delgado bent over, squatted down, reached down with one hand, and the very next frame that I can remember is him standing upright with his arm outstretched with a gun in his hand, and I'm staring down the barrel of it. It was pointed right at me. DeLong fired twice and killed him. Police officers reported finding this realistic-looking airsoft pistol next to Delgado's body. The grand jury cleared DeLong of criminal wrongdoing.
We don't know. We know that's what they're saying, but what really happened? I wish I could have seen that moment that they say that my brother picked up a gun and pointed it at them.
One reason Tina will never see that moment is because Portland police officers did not have body cameras that day. They still don't. It's been under debate for a decade. COVID scrapped an initial pilot program in 2020. Then city commissioners approved spending $2.8 million on body cameras in November 2021. The Rose City will be the last major American city to put body cameras on its officers later this year.
More evidence is always better.
Aaron Schmaltz is the president of the Portland Police Association.
It's important that this step is moving forward. I think it's important that accountability is viewed as a global reality.
The final sticking point came down to whether officers could watch body camera video before writing reports or doing interviews after a police shooting. K2 Investigates reached out to police agencies in America's 50 largest cities to see how this debate has been settled elsewhere. We heard back from 22. 7 either don't allow officers to watch their video or only do if a supervisor allows it. That includes San Francisco, Columbus, Ohio, Washington, D.C., and Minneapolis. Spokespeople for 15 agencies tell me officers can watch their video before interviews or report writing. Why was it important for the union to fight for officers to be able to view the video in at least certain circumstances?
So again, because the video is a witness, it's not the eyes of the officer. There may be even questions that you don't even know exist until you watch the video. Multiple reports, multiple recountings of things, little incomplete pieces can lead to truthfulness allegations. But we're just making sure, again, that we're having access to all the evidence to give a good, comprehensive, full report the day of, so that the community can have answers to the questions as quickly as possible.
Here's where the union and city came down in policy nearly 18 months after setting aside the money to pay for the first cameras. In less serious uses of force, officers must first give a statement to a supervisor, then watch the video to write a report. In cases of deadly force, like a shooting, the officer may be required to give an on-scene statement and an initial interview without watching his or her video. Once the officer explains why they fired their gun or used deadly force, the interview will stop. Then the officer and the investigator will watch the video to finish the interview. By policy, the investigator cannot watch the video before the officer.
The big thing for us was having the interviewer also not watch that video makes sure that the questions that are being asked aren't, again, polluted by information that they wouldn't otherwise have.
Under the current proposed policy,
Civil rights attorneys like Juan Chavez don't like that, though, and say they'll push the city to renegotiate the policy before cameras are deployed citywide on every officer.
You would hope that an officer who is truly doing a homicide investigation has all the facts when they're asking questions to the person who committed the homicide. I think that's kind of a half measure that won't ensure that there's a proper truth-telling in that moment when it's most crucial.
Chavez also wants to see a policy where officers cannot watch their video at all during an investigation or discipline process.
It still goes to the fundamental constitutional question of what did the officer see and what gave them the legal justification to do what they did. Nothing else matters. What the camera saw is not material to that central constitutional question.
For city leaders and the police union, the policy represents compromise. Further disagreement means a longer delay and possibly less accountability.
From an accountability standpoint, the vast majority of police interactions don't include force, but they do include conduct. And so we can answer those questions. You know, was the officer polite? Was the community member, the officer says the community member was intoxicated or was engaging in some kind of behavior. We can demonstrate to the public accountability on both sides.
Tina Delgado still has many questions and hopes police body cameras may prevent others from living in limbo as she does now.
Absolutely. I definitely want to know what happened right before.
Without that moment on video, she will never know.
Due to Portland's settlement agreement with the DOJ over uses of force against mentally ill people, the Department of Justice will have final say on the policy. At least right now, they're letting the pilot project move forward.
Right. Which officers will get the cameras first?
They'll start with Central Precinct downtown, as well as the Focused Intervention Team. That's the group of officers focused on gun violence.
So what's the timeline for the full rollout?
It will be between April and August of next year. City Council will need to approve a camera vendor later this year. They'll have to pay for that as well. I did speak to 3 city commissioners who all say they're relieved this process is moving forward.
It's been a long process.
Long process.
Thanks, Ray.